And stress, when I say right from schools, the pressure for those children to perform, and they hardly have physical training, periods, more emphasis on academics, and then the junk food, and these ads on the television, they're, I think, very tempting for the children, and most of them take a lot of junk foods, and it has contributed to obesity. So when people put on weight and they have a family history of diabetes, so they actually end up with diabetes much earlier.
Okay.
We've even started treating some school children for type 2 diabetes.
Okay.
Right, in our center. So the youngest, in fact, the youngest that I'm seeing over here is about 8 years old, and she's really obese. She has a body mass index, more than the body mass. I would say that she's at her age, she's weighing about 70 kgs, right?
At 8 years.
Yeah, at 8 years. So, and when we just looked into her, and then we counseled her, we just found out that every day she's having maybe potato chips and all that junk, and even parents have no amount, whatever they are telling, that she's not even listening, and then finally they're giving in to that. So at this age, 8 years, she's weighing about 80 kgs, and she's just started with diabetes. So it is very unfortunate that we have very young children also
Being specific to Bangalore, doctor, let me also ask you that is it because the people here have traveled abroad, that's why they bring back that culture of fast food? First thing. Second thing is that this culture is infectious. It's not just with the IT professionals. Now today I see everybody in Bangalore seems to have the same kind of culture of sedentary lifestyle, drinking a lot of liquor, eating a lot of food, junk food or otherwise. That has spread across the board. It's not just IT people who are involved in it.
Yeah, that's true, because now even Bangalore and even the rural areas as such, even in Karnataka, you have a very a steep increase in the incidence of people developing diabetes. And as you rightly said, people have traveled abroad, they have come back, and they have brought that culture along with them. And not just that, even people who are here, they look at those ads, they get tempted, and they have a lot of this junk food. And we also noticed that among the the friends group, even people who are obese, not really taking care of it, they are continuing to have this junk food, not exercise, and then end up with diabetes.
Probably it's that age where you think you're invincible, nothing can destroy you. But then after about 30 years of age, then slowly dawns on you that you need to control. By that time probably it's too late. Is that true?
Yeah, because now once upon a time we would say after 50s you go for a health checkup. Now when people with 18, even younger than that are ending up at our clinic.
Very true.
Are ending up at our clinic.
Absolutely.
So how early to check? And the best thing would be actually to prevent childhood obesity. The school going children. I think what will really make a difference is educating them about obesity. Rather than after they end up with diabetes, going, talking about treatment with them. If you actually move one step back and really look at prevention, then we need to look at, children of diabetic parents. So then if you move one step back, just look at all the school going children and probably advise them about prevention of obesity. So I think that will go a long way. And in fact, maybe even some recommendations to the schools as to what foods they can have in their canteen, which can be little more, healthy, and maybe cultivating those, and every day the child, having some amount of regular physical activity, involving themselves in some sports activity, whichever, they are interested in. So if they could do that and try and maintain their weight, and then also make the right choices, with the food. So I'm sure that this challenge can be tackled.
Surprised by the coincidence. Several of lady doctors, lady diabetologists have said that when it comes to gestational diabetes, the education should not be after the marriage. It should be when you are in school. That's when it has to start.
Yes.
After you get married and giving gyan on obesity doesn't work.
I think we've missed the bus. It's a bit too late. So if you go to schools and actually that's the time, we were to guide them about adopting healthy practices. So that will go a long way in preventing obesity itself. So when there is, when they're following a healthy lifestyle, be it with the diet, be it with the exercise, be it with, stress management, whatever is there, right? Because we see that these days, the pressure to perform well in their exams, most of them are just confined to their rooms and, with their books all the time. But that physical activity is so very important, because tomorrow they may end up being very successful, heading top positions. But if their health doesn't work, then there's going to be a huge impact on that.
Doctor, there was a diabetologist in Mumbai who told us a story about how a person who was working in as a salesman had developed type 2 diabetes, and later on the doctor found that it was only because of the stress at work, and he suggested that he should change his job, or else nothing can control this diabetes. And once he changed the job, his blood sugar became almost normal with of course treatment, but at least it was not uncontrollable. Do you see that kind of trend here in Bangalore?
Yeah, we do see, because when people
purely on stress.
Purely on stress also, because these days what's becoming more and more common is, even without a family history of diabetes, we're seeing people in their 20s and early 30s end up with diabetes. And if you look at them, they are neither overweight, and they're following healthy practices as well. Some people are exercising and still in their early 20s ending up with diabetes. And then when we actually get into a discussion with them, we find out that there's a lot of stress, and they're traveling most of the times. After in 1 month, in the 30-day period, they're traveling at least some 18 to 20 days. And so when that kind of schedules for them, and when they travel, they're going to different parts of the country. They don't eat on time. They eat what's available for them. So things like that we see also definitely contribute to early diabetes. Early on. Actually, I would like to share from what our hospital in Chennai has undertaken. So I think in 2009 they launched a Chennai Slim and Fit program, where they went to the CBSE schools, and they actually did a workup of the weight of the children in the school, and they looked at various parameters. They looked at the fat percentage and all that. And when a health guide was given, they trained the trainers. When the teachers were given that kind of an information and they followed it at the end of 1 year, they saw a lot of positive changes happen. The weight of that children actually came down, and they found that obesity was quite high in the school children itself. So when this was implemented for a year, they noticed a lot of changes. So now this is one MB hospital which has taken the initiative and gone to schools.
True.
So, but if like you pointed out, if a local body, if the state government or the central government, imagine if this could be implemented in all the schools. Like if there's a health guide and they're actually following that and they're taking care of that. So I'm sure it would go a long way in first preventing diabetes itself. So that could really make a huge difference. As you rightly said, diabetes, and it doesn't come alone, and we see that it's associated with a lot of other a combination of other risk factors. So now polycystic ovarian syndrome, or PCOD what we call, is very common in people who have a family history of diabetes. So if one of the parent has diabetes, then the girl ending up with PCOD is a very high chance. So the minute parents, they have a family history of diabetes, I think right from beginning, the girl involving herself in physical activity, I think exercise is the best for people with PCOD. So they can knock off some weight, and when they do that, the insulin, basically what is there in PCOD is a lot of insulin resistance. So when they exercise,
but that also comes with obesity, right?
Yeah, so that also comes with obesity. So when they exercise and reduce their weight, the insulin sensitivity also comes down. So it's very important that right from beginning, focus on maintaining ideal body weight, exercise regularly, eating a healthy diet. So same practices would hold good even for PCOD.